Welcome everyone to the All About You show. You know, we're all living in an era where everyone is raising a flag, fighting for a different cause. This could be for race, gender, human rights, salary increase, whatever it may be. And the question is, what flag have you been raising? What cause are you fighting for? Well, joining us today, I have Liliana and Shauna. How are you? So, what flag or what movement are we seeing nowadays?
Well, a recent movement that has made a huge impact is called the #MeToo movement, and it's raising awareness for women that have been through sexual abuse, sexual violence, survivors, giving them a voice. And recently, a famous Hollywood producer was even prosecuted for all the sexual allegations made against him, and it was hundreds of women that's been reporting, but nothing was done. So when one came forward and started this movement, many women came and said #MeToo. And then from there, with all those cases, justice was able to be made.
That's really good.
That's really good, isn't it? Yeah. You know, there's even a movement going on called Life is What Living against gun and knife crime. And on the 23rd of June, I'm inviting you guys to join us here in our headquarters in Friendswood Park. The address will be there and the contact details for more information. But this is really good because it was done last year. There was over 600 youths, you know, young people. Even we had some mature people as well joining us in this awareness, you know, here in London, because the stabbings is getting out of hand with young people. So, you know, there's a kind of the movements that we're having nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm honest to say, you know, these movements are helping the world.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? From helping children, you know, that don't have nothing to eat, from, I don't know, my mind went blank.
Abuse, like you spoke about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Healthy eating.
Healthy eating. Yeah, so, you know, we have all these movements. It starts with one person.
Exactly.
You know, and then it's like formed in groups, and then before you know it, nearly everyone in the world is taking part. So we have this positive movements going on. But now bringing it to the negative movement, you know, sometimes we have ideas which starts off good, it starts off really well. You know, when you hear about it, you're like, wow, I want to be part of it. But then as it goes along, it's like, hold on a second, you know. It doesn't make sense what is going on.
So yes, Kim, it's true. I can say that there are so many movements that are doing great things, you know, in the world. And as well, there are great movements that they start off really well. And then as time goes by, I can say people's reactions changes because the ideas that have been implanted, if I could say, are kind of distorted. For example, the whole equality thing for men and women, you know, I understand it. It's true. Women should get the same pay and things like that. But then if I can say the reaction of how the women are maybe talking about men or treating men or, you know, the way they, the attitudes towards the movement, it kind of becomes a bit sour. Sorry to say it, but it's soury. It's not nice. It's like, what are you trying to say? You're better than men now? It shouldn't be like that. True equality is, you know, everyone's, if I could say, at peace, if that makes sense.
For example, okay, you do the same role as the same job as a man. Okay, you get the same pay and everything. But now, you know, like what you mentioned is how we're treating men. So it's like, okay, men, you know, now we're going to step on them. Now we're going to show, I don't know, there was a poster about, you know, the woman with the arm thing.
Oh, yeah, like we could
we could do it.
Yeah.
And then there was a man with a baby, you know, you can... They kind of changed the slogan, literally.
They inverted the roles, isn't it?
So inverting the role. So it started off well, you know, creating rights for women, because that's why women can vote now.
Exactly.
Women can work in certain places and certain positions. So the idea started off very good, very well. But now what we're seeing is everything is just changing, you know, to something negative.
I was even just going to say something so subtle, like hashtags. Like, you know,
we all use the hashtag, isn't it?
Yeah, and again, hashtags, you know, they're not a bad thing when you want to address a certain event. Like, for example, you're talking about
Life
the March,
is What Living event.
Exactly. But then it's these little things that I'm going to be honest here, and I hope no one feels like I'm attacking you. But, you know, for example, what's the word? Black. You were even saying to me, black. black beauty or black magic.
Black girl magic.
Black girl magic, things like that. Again, some people, but what do you mean? Honestly, but if another race was to say that, how would you react? What would, the reaction of the black person be towards the other race?
Yeah.
To be honest with you, it's sad, but I can say we see so much, if I could say, aggressiveness. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, I can say it, black beauty, but if someone else was to say it, it would seem like an attack, if that makes sense.
It turns into something else. Even it may not seem it, but like you said, subtly, it's like it's hate. Like it's that whole division. It's like my community, your community, you're there, and it's like anybody. We're meant to try to be one, but it's somehow, even though something that was very trivial in the beginning, very fun, along the way over the years, it became very segregated, even though it's something
that should have been kept in the past.
Socially to bring people together. And even in the past as well.
It's true. And sometimes you kind of make the other race feel a bit bad. Or for example, I'm gonna go into the natural hair movement. It started off well. I'm natural. Okay. But it started off well, like, okay, embracing your beauty and embrace your natural hair. I became natural for certain reasons as well, because the hair was breaking. So I had to do something about it quickly if I had only one strand. But that's why I decided. And many people are going now, okay, natural hair.
They're
but
learning
now,
about their
exactly.
hair,
But now you're making someone else who is not natural feel bad.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, why are you not natural? You should be natural. Don't you like who you are? Don't you like where you came from? Don't you embrace your hair?
I totally agree.
And you make that other person feel so bad, even from the same culture or
Like,
race, feel bad.
Because someone has relaxed hair. Oh, so does that mean you don't love your own hair?
You're not embracing your roots.
Do you know? It's like, sorry to say, but what is your business in, kind of forcing someone else in decision that they made? So
and it's
that's
even
a really good point.
It was bringing up reasons that didn't exist before, because now you've gone into like a whole nother realm of race, and it's gone into like it's like things that didn't exist from that one thing. Different perceptions started to come when the person didn't see the initiative wasn't that way in the first place. But like you said, over time it takes one person to think a distorted way, and then it questions everything else, and then many questions, like like a brainstorm, many people start
and
picking
you start and that idea starts to disciple, like it's like a discipleship, and then that hatred starts, that behavior starts, and then you see you were not thinking in that way before, but slowly your mindset started to change. The way you behave towards someone else started to change. You start seeing people in a negative way. So it's like those ideas, like we spoke in a previous show, it's like it slowly creeps in. It's something very subtle, very gentle. It's like the idea started off so well, standing for your rights, standing for what you believe in. It started out so well, so good. But then, before you know it, it's like you're thinking in a whole different level and things like that. And,
I was just...
Sorry, no, go on.
I was just going to say it's sad because when I was just thinking about it, how we can be so easily influenced, even as Christians, even as women of God. Because, for example... I love your example, Kim. You even shared it with us how you were watching a YouTube...
I was watching a YouTube video in my time of transitioning. And it started off so well because I needed help. But then she started going off the subject of hair, like what I needed to do. It's like, those YouTubers, it's like it starts off well, or anything, in any movement. They start off well, it's like they draw you in, and then when you're so captivated in what they're saying, and then they bring in their own ideas, they bring in their own views.
It's like they hide behind that hashtag, their own personal thing, they use it to go along with that hashtag. But I was even thinking, even with the feminist thing, it's like that's, in the future, if you really think about the effects, that's someone's son, that's someone's husband. And if you don't realize, it's going to transition to that hate being put on your child, your relative. You don't realize it because that's the culture we're sort of feeding at the moment. It's
true. Maybe you're like a feminist. Okay, you stand up for your rights. Okay, which is good, but you're diminishing men. So imagine you have a son as well. So what you're believing in will pass on to other women, and that's how those women are going to treat your son, your grandson, and whatever. And so that hatred will spill over. So, you know, you see one idea starts off well, but then the principles start to change. And you mentioned, Lily, as women of God, it's so easy for us to fall into that trap, to fall into that idea of the principles of the world. You know, the word of God says that we should be one in mind, in spirit, you know, in the same, you know, in the same mindset, being together. And you see what the world is trying to bring to us is that division, that separation. So, you know, we're all Christians in the same body, but then the devil wants to create that division amongst us, to even make us look at each other. Oh, I can't relate to this one because she's not like me, or she doesn't look like me, or she doesn't speak like me, or different things, and bringing that division. So we're not seeing faith anymore. So faith is gone out of the picture. Everything is gone out. It's just, oh, you're like this, so I'm not gonna, you know, relate to you. I'm not gonna stick to you, and then you have that separation. I don't know.
Kim,
if you...
I was just, do you know, I just thought of literally, when I came to the faith, I was very careful with the influences of the world. I was very careful with what I was listening to, with what I was hearing. And to be honest, I was strict with myself. But sadly, what tends to happen is, even amongst us Christians, we start to belong to this world when really we know we shouldn't be. It says in the word of God, we do not belong to this world. Yet we are allowing the world to be so attractive that we start to, what's the word? Embrace the world when we shouldn't. Because the truth is, when slowly by slowly we're embracing the world, then really, what are we becoming? Are we becoming of God, or like, do you know what I mean? Like, and I'm thinking, what is happening?
And it's what we used to stand for in the beginning of our faith, what we used to distance ourselves from. Slowly, it's like we took those filters off, and we're allowing those ideas, those opinions behind those hashtags to get into our minds, into our faith, into our beliefs, and our principles slowly start to become non-existent, or I would say like diluted, where it's like we have the title, we're Christians, but it's for the cause, but it's like we're forgetting about the principles or the cause of Christ, like what he stood for. That gets lost in the mix of us moving with these social movements or hashtags, or
and we start to think,
causes.
We start to say, oh, it's okay, it's okay. And then before you know it, you fell into the trap.
Exactly. And that's why we need to be so careful with the things that we watch, with the things that we listen to, even the movements that we follow. Because everything at the end of the day, if it's not according to the principles of God, then why are you following it? So be careful. Maybe before, when you started in the faith, you're very careful, you're very observant. You know, whenever someone of authority advised you and even corrected you, you will listen. You were ready to listen, but now it's like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. You know, they even become your enemy. And like I mentioned, this is what the devil is trying to bring. The word of God said we should be in one mind, in one faith, in one spirit. But the devil doesn't want us to be in one mind, because he knows if we're in one mind, we're going to make a difference. We're going to save millions of souls. But when there's division amongst us, we're not going to save anyone. So watch what you listen to, watch what you follow, and make sure you're standing by the principle of God. So this is all we have time for. I hope you could relate to the message today. So what flag have you been raising? What cause are you fighting for? Is there a cause to save souls? Is there a cause to glorify God? If it's not that, then drop the flag and stop fighting for that cause. All right, so we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you.